tight schedule, she means I have 10 minutes to shut up then. Otherwise I'll be excommunicated or won't be allowed back into the office. But I'd like to add my welcome also to Aisling's welcome to everybody that's here, the Minister in particular, Deputy English, he's down there somewhere, he sneaked in as he told me, and obviously the directors of the Probation Service and the Irish Prison Service. We're very, very honoured that three such distinguished people have come to participate in, as Aisling said, the launch of our first annual report. Obviously to welcome the guests, everybody that's here, and the IASIO team. So it's great that everybody is here with us. Now, 2012 is the period that's covered in the report, and that was a seminal year for us. We made a formal move from the management structure of business in the community, Ireland, and we became a new independent entity, the Irish Association for the Social Integration of Offenders. Now that's a mouthful and a mouthful and a half. Paddy agonised over an appropriate name for the organisation for a long time and eventually came up with this and called it IASIO, so for short. Now, you all remember the radio ad for Cheto Unction, this insecticide that was used in Catalan. The chat line on the strap line on the radio was, "'Tis a queer name but great stuff." So I describe IASIO as a queer organisation with great stuff in it. The change from being part of the management structure of business in the community was very appropriate because there were new tasks emerging all the time for the services that we were running, and there were new areas of activity. Just the resettlement service was beginning to develop, and also the site-seeking activities for the community service order of people. So all of these things were complicating the chain of decision-making that was there between the Board of Business in the Community of Ireland and the operations, and it was felt appropriate that an independent entity such as the IASIO was the most appropriate way to actually go forward into the future. Now, it enabled us then to develop deeper relationships with the prison service and with the probation service, and more collaboration. And obviously we're now in business to support the policies of both those organisations, and we'll endeavour to do that in the best way we can. And obviously we're open for business and new suggestions and new ideas. We appreciate, first of all, our history, which goes back before IASIO was formed. Appreciate and acknowledge the continuous support that we got from the Board of Business in the Community Ireland. They gave us assistance and support right through the number of years that we've worked with them, and in the transition from working under their management structure to being independent on our own, they helped us out in finance affairs. We had Kevin Gregory helping us all of the time in that, and on the HR and personnel side we had Emma. So all of these supports were critical for us, even to develop as we were. So added to that, we had both our funders supporting us very enthusiastically, Anna Connolly and Paul, there's Paul there, Paul MacDonald from the Probation Service and Seamus from the Prison Service. And they really helped us to form the links and the relationship between the two major funders that are part of our existence. And your forbearance, Seamus and Paul, during all of this transition period is much appreciated. I think we've adapted very well to the new arrangement of being an independent entity and looking after our own affairs in a corporate sense. And obviously that is led and fashioned by Paddy and the team, and the professionalism and the enthusiasm that was shown by Paddy and Valerie and Aisling all along has been marvellous, and we are here because of that. We used to have in the old existence a steering group, a steering committee. I used to call it the door opening gang, because we were there to try and create linkages and connections for our training and employment officers in the field, and help them to place people in employment and in the very other areas that are part and board of eminent people, and we're lucky with the people that we have. We need a board, obviously, for the formality and the governance issues of running an independent entity, but we have a strong group of enthusiastic people who are committed to what we do, each associated with the criminal justice system or the community sector one way or another, and I think that gives opportunities for great synergies which are evolving. And we are augmented at the board by Anna and by Seamus, who make the connection back into the funders real and tangible. So it makes my life easier as the chairman, and I think I thank them sincerely for the commitment that they have made to what we do. We're in difficult times, as everybody can recognise, but last night I was looking through some old stuff. My wife kills me for hoarding stuff, but I found some notes from 2010, and Paddy's admonition to the launch of our annual report that time was to do more with less. Now, I think we have that in spades. The current situation is to do much more with much less. So we're living with fingers crossed as to what will happen in the budget situation. But seriously, we do appreciate the efforts that our funders make to protect us from the shocks of the cuts that are across the piece, and keep enough funds coming our way so that we can carry on our business in an appropriate fashion, and particularly keep the level of service up in the interest of our clients. And I think that it used to gall me, and I've said it once or twice, but these across-the-board cuts are devilish, really, because they don't identify the real value for money, the real needs that can be satisfied. It's a generic cut, and people have heard me saying about this before, or talking about this before. But a few words on the scale of our operation. I think people will be surprised when they hear that since we started in the year 2000 to the end of 2012, we had placed 10,195 clients. Now that's an enormous achievement by any standard. And in 2012, and obviously the numbers each year have been increasing, and in 2012 we engaged with 1,966 clients referred to us by the probation service or the prison service, and that is a big number. Of those, we placed 1,132 people, which again is a significant number of life-changing interventions, because that's what they are, and helped people to resettle and reintegrate and restart their lives in many cases. The difference between the 1900 and the 1100 is work in progress, and that's always ongoing, and there may very well be 2 or 3 goes at an individual to place them properly and comfortably into a situation, and there's no limit on the number of times that the DEOs will ask or be asked for a repeat effort to try and help people. Now that's all being done by a total staff of 28 people that are in the probation, in the linkage program, and in the 2 programs that are running in the prisons. Now everybody talks about value for money, and if you divide our budget by the number of bodies that we helped in 2012, you will get a head per capita cost of 1,152. And Michael, you can tell me what it costs to keep a person in the full-time care of the state. In your organisation, I have a figure in my head of about 80,000, so it's a no-brainer really in terms of support for the efforts of what our training and employment officers do and the value to society. We are, as I said, consistent with the probation service policies and the Irish prison service policies, because they are fundamental to what we do. We are a creature of them both, and we are there to deliver what they have done. But I use a quotation of an old venerable politician, venerable maybe isn't the right word, an old hoary politician who said, we have done the state some service. So I would say that on behalf of the training and employment officers and the staff of IASIO generally. How is all this achieved? Nothing has changed in terms of the way the team does its work, and in process terms, there's a a continuous critical examination of how we do things and how we get on with the job. That's Paddy's constant challenge to people, is to make sure that we are looking at things right and do them properly and effectively. There's a radical readjustments have happened over the years of our cost base, and simple things like, not simple things, fundamental things like tearing around the country, visiting all our clients, to have the clients coming to the training and employment officers, insofar as it is practical in cutting down the costs associated with that sort of travel. But the team has a spirit of cooperation that's palpable. Everything that has happened today was organised by the team, and it's really just wonderful. There's a mature realisation among the team of the realities of the situation that we're in, and the commitment they have to the task is remarkable. So I think it's a splendid achievement by the 28 people by any standard. Now, we can't do this on our own, obviously. Partnerships are most vital to us, and the most fundamental partnerships are the funders, both the Probation Service and the Irish Prison Service. We exist, as I said twice already, to support their strategies, and that's what we're here for. Relationships are fundamental as well, and between Anna and Seamus we have a door into both organisations. We couldn't function without the collaboration and cooperation and help of the training agencies who are out there, and more we're depending on those, because years ago when things were flying and things were booming, there was a ratio, maybe 55% of our placements would be in employment and 45% in training and skills development or skills upgrading. Now that's swung completely to the other side, in that we have now only 30% of our placements are in employment, and the other 70% is in upskilling and training and additional education, which is a prerequisite for anybody seeking employment in any event. So it's all consistent with helping people to get resettled. But I think even the 30% of placements in jobs in this difficult time is a wonderful achievement in itself. But there are organisations then like the Small Firms Association, ISME, IBEC, the Chambers of Commerce, that we all interact with. And if you look in the report, I was amazed myself when I saw the myriad of organisations that we have now developed links, that the team on the ground has developed links and connections with.